Okay, so we'll call page 11, Raven Queen, C371483. Ms. Queen is present in custody. This is on for our status check trial readiness. The first trial what we're really concerned with today is the 5-6 trial on the homicide or on the severed charges, as well as the homicide trial on 7-8. Okay, we'll put in the minutes just that Mr. Erickson is going to be the second chair. We had severed the counts so that Ms. Queen is facing 2 different trials. We had talked about an amended indictment being filed. State, where are we at with that?
We'll have that prepared and filed this week.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else we need to address? Anything you're missing, Mr. Langford?
I guess I'm still, is there any way that we could do a separate case number? I mean, it gets really confusing as you're going through. And
I don't know. I've not been in this position. State, explain what your thoughts are.
We can't, because theoretically that would be removed jurisdiction. So the only ways to get a case into district court would theoretically be, prelim or indictment. If we separate it and just create it, we would be sabotaging ourselves with essentially a jurisdictional issue later down the road. That being said, one of the things I've done when something like this has happened is we will do one that we file. And then I will also do one that has like a bold caption that says, don't read to the jury. And it says, these are the numbering and numbers for purposes of this trial. But the counts for that will be just for the trial, because those counts, when it goes to NDOC on the JOC, need to go back to 19, 18, 21. So it'll make sense and streamline when the jury sees it, but that'll be kind of fraudulent, for lack of a better word.
Okay. I do want to let you know, Mr. Langford, last time we were here, Ms. Queen, as well as several of the co-defendants, just had a lot of questions about what was going on. This has been an incredibly confusing case for everyone. So they had asked some questions. I talked to them about some of the procedural answers, but I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay.
And now that we have everything sort of straightened out going forward, any chance of a settlement conference or anything here, or are we not at that point in the case yet?
I think we're at a point where we'll be extending offers and discuss that.
Okay.
Now that there's the new murder charge and it's kind of static, we can discuss that.
Right. Mr. Langford, anything else you want to put on the record?
no, Mr. Erickson will be joining me on the other case as well.
Okay.
So.
Got it. Okay. So, let's do a status check trial readiness. You guys have all the discovery, right?
We believe so. It came in hodgepodge, so that's one of the things that we're going to check right away.
Okay. Let's do for all of the 5 co-defendants in the homicide case, let's do a status check 90 days just to make sure everyone's still on board for that. Pardon me? What? For a status check? Did you want something sooner? Well, your trial's not until July 8th on that.
It's a long day.
Okay, we'll do a 60-day status check. That date will be
March 19th.
March 19th at 9 a.m. And that's what we'll end up giving to the other co-defendants just to make sure that you have everything. It sounds like you do have everything. That's just out of an abundance of caution. If there's any experts that we want to talk about at that time, we'll address that as well.
And that's just for the homicide defendants in this case.
Correct.
Okay.
The other ones are just going to be for calendar call.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Donald Green on behalf of Antonio
I'll
Washington.
call that one.
We're here. With
Hang on
these
one
same.
second. Washington 9C371483.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I guess the rulings we just had, Donald Green on behalf of Mr. Washington, he is present in custody. I guess that the rulings that the court just made would apply with equal force to Mr. Washington. Is that correct?
Just regarding the next status check,
Okay.
as well as any sort of what they've talked about regarding the separate indictments.
Your Honor, I have to be in federal court in Reno on the 19th of March. I'm asking if we could do it Thursday, the 14th, 4 days earlier.
I don't have court on the 14th.
Oh, excuse me.
We could do it the 12th if you want. You want to move?
The 12th would be fine, Your Honor.
Okay.
Just want to make sure.
Mr. Langford, we're going to move your status check back to the 12th because of Mr. Green's federal court availability. So it'll be 3/12, not 3/19. Okay, that'll be for everyone. I should have waited to see if everyone was there before, but we're gonna make 312 work. Okay,
Oh, and judge, for purposes of the record, Mr. Hendren was here. He had gone to Henderson, but knew it was just a status check and you know.
okay. For the record,
I'm standing in for Mr.
Denzel Lee's, co-defendant number 3. This is gonna be for a status, Mr. Lee? There you are, okay. We're gonna do a status check on 312. Has Mr. Hendren come to see you? I know you had probably the most questions of anybody last time we were here.
Yeah.
He has? You got some of those questions answered?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. We'll see you guys back then for the status check. For the record, we have Mr. Langford standing in for Mr. Hendren, who did have to run to another jurisdiction. Okay.
I don't have a lawyer no more.
They're gonna have to appear at least to do their motion to withdraw.
Well, can I put in a motion for a bail hearing? Can I put in a motion
Who
for a bail hearing and interstate
Hold on.
compact?
You're talking on the record, we don't know who you are.
I'm Lamonte Butler, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Butler, we're gonna call your case as soon as I see anyone from Mr. Sheets' office, just so they're here, and then we can talk about it, okay? About your requests. I haven't seen anyone from that office. As soon as they're here. I think that's it for you, Mr. Langford.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Rutledge, your issue is slightly separate, but you want to be called?
Yes.
Okay, of course. Let's call page 16, Antwain McDuffie, C371483. Mr. McDuffie is present in custody. This is on for a status check EMP hearing.
Yes, Your
What's-
Honor. There's probably going to be a new case filed in, but it's in juvenile right now.
Sure.
We anticipate it being sorted out. It has not been done so. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But based on that new case, I don't want to argue this motion with that new case out there.
Okay,
So we are not objecting at this time to the not being allowed on house arrest anymore. And if there is something new facts present themselves in the new case, then I'll put it back on motion
okay.
for a motion for bail reduction. But for right now, we're not objecting.
Okay, so at this point, the state's motion is granted, and if there's changes, Mr. Rutledge can address them already.
That's correct.
Perfect. You have a calendar call of 4:30 with a jury trial of 5-6. Still works for you?
Yes, Your Honor. We're in discussions with the prosecution.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. McDuffie. It's good. We're going to call page 5, Lamonte Butler, C371483. Mr. Butler is present in custody with Mr. Sheets. This is on for the status check. Additionally, I'm going to advance the 12324 motion to withdraw as counsel of record to today's date. Mr. Sheets, is there anything to add to that motion?
I just add, we were originally retained prior to it being upgraded to a murder. At the beginning, obviously, we were more focused on going to the death committee and making our argument there, which we did do, and thankfully they are pursuing that. But at this point, we thought that we would have resolved a new retainer with the family. It just has not come to fruition.
Okay. And Mr. Butler is made aware of this motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Last night.
Yeah, well, we mailed it as soon as it was filed, so I guess it's...
Mr. Butler, do you have an objection to Mr. Sheets' motion to withdraw?
Yes, I don't see why, because he haven't done really too much for me. I haven't got the rest of my discovery. I haven't got one contact visit. Not
So he's
one.
asking to not be your attorney
I
anymore.
know
You don't.
exactly.
Do you want him to be your attorney?
I want him to at least produce everything that should be produced to me as far as my discovery and the video footage, because I have nothing of that. And he didn't put in no motions for me that for my interstate compact that I asked for multiple times in my bail hearing. So I want for that motion to be filed. And I would like to talk about it today because I feel like I should be.
Wasn't there a bail motion already heard?
Yes, Your Honor, heard a bail motion.
So he's saying that there was a bail motion already heard. That was my understanding in this matter.
That was what 7 months ago.
Right.
And
Things have gotten worse since then.
I know, but I'm asking because I have a lot of kids. You know, I have 3 kids. I just had a newborn child. I want to be able to go home to my family and fight my case because I bailed out once on this case. I was appointed to go to court on February 14th, which I did. And then I was told to come back January 1st, which I had got picked up before then because they said the district court picked up the case. But I had no knowledge of that, so they picked me up saying I had a warrant because I failed to appear in court, which I already showed that I will come to court willingly no monitoring, no nothing, so I don't understand why if I do make bail that I have to stay out here, which I have no family, nowhere to live, no nothing.
You don't have to stay out here if you do make bail, but ultimately, I don't know that there's, state any response.
Our request is that he be revoked without bail, along with all the other defendants, because there's a murder charge and there's proof evident presumption. Great, but he needs to file something in writing if he wants this addressed.
You already denied he tried to get the bail taken on my last court date.
Right,
You
so
already
the,
denied that. You said-
The bail
bail, I found bail was sufficient at this point, so
he's
we're not,
still trying to-
so here's the problem. You're going back in time, and he's also going back in time, but at this point, I don't have anything in writing. So we need to decide who's going to represent you going forward. It sounds like you are, first of all, not current on payments to Mr. Sheets. Second of all, not extremely satisfied with his representation. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay.
I'm not gonna keep paying him, he's not working.
Understood. Do you want time to hire a different private attorney, or do you want me to appoint, given the fact that you're in custody at this point, do you want me to appoint a contract attorney to represent
Can
you?
you appoint me one for the moment and while I continue to look for one?
Well, the fact that you are in custody, I will assume indigency, and so at this point, I will continue only Mr. Butler's matter 1 week to have Ms. Bush, who is our conflict counsel. She oversees the entire program. She'll have somebody appointed by next week. Okay. All right. So we'll have you back next week.
January 23rd at 9 a.m.
Mr. Sheets, you will need to either appear to give the file over. I understand it's very electronics heavy.
Yes.
Or you'll need to give that to them ahead of time and then file something with court, or let my clerk know that you've already given that to whoever gets appointed.
We can always swing by, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. We'll see you back next week. You'll learn who your new appointed attorney is. Okay, Mr. Butler?
What about my being able to go back home if I'm able to make bail?
You're on level 4 PCU, so you would be allowed if you make bail. All right. That's it for this matter, but any changes in bail need to be in writing.
Thank you, Your Honor.